Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my July book haul. I've got quite a few books here, most of them were sent to me from publishers or my friends, and a few of them I bought myself, so let's just get stuck into it. So the first two books I'm going to show you were both sent to me by Granta. The first is quite a popular one here on BookTube, and that's The Toddler Zone by Sarah Moss. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Sarah Moss at a Birmingham sort of chat and Q&A with her, and she was absolutely wonderful. She signed my book to me, which was really lovely. It was very interesting hearing her talk about it. When I went to see her, I'd read pretty much half of the book. I have finished it now. I pretty much finished it the night that I came home from that. And I just think it was absolutely wonderful. Everybody that I spoke to that has read this has just absolutely adored it. The writing style is so eloquently beautiful. I mean, she captures a very genuine home life feel. I mean, the character of Adam especially is so realistic, and it's so wonderful to read something like this. It's easy to read, regardless of sort of the complex nature of the language. It is quite an easy read, but it's actually a very difficult read in terms of sort of emotional. It really hits you, and especially if you're scared of, you know, death and eternity and things like that. This book does cover that somewhat, and, you know, it sort of freaks you out a little bit, or it did to me anyway. So thank you so much, Granta, for sending me this. As well as this, they also sent me Paulina and Fran by Rachel B. Glasser, which I didn't actually request, but I had been looking at it for quite a while. I'd seen it on Twitter, and I've actually started reading this, and I've been really enjoying this as well. I absolutely adore the cover as well, it's beautiful. So this is a book about female friendship. It starts off with the character of Paulina. I'm only a few pages in, but so far she's just gone to a house party and she's sort of not really interested in it. And I really like her character. She's a little bit stuck up, but she's quite sassy. Again, quite genuine. I only had sort of 10 minutes to sit down and read this, but I got through sort of 30-40 pages, and it's just so interesting. I'm really looking forward to finishing this. So again, thank you so much to Granta for sending me this as well. I definitely feel like if you're in the mood for sort of you know, a feminist, enjoyable, funny, heartbreaking text, I think this is going to be the perfect one for you. Next, I have a few books to show you from Little Brown, their imprint Sphere. The first is quite a popular one. I've seen this out in a lot of places, but this is I See You by Claire McIntosh. I'm really looking forward to reading this. I haven't read a good crime thriller for quite a while. I don't really know much about this. I sort of don't even want to read the blurb. I just want to go into it blind and just enjoy it. From what I've gathered, it's about a girl who sees her photo in the classifieds in a London newspaper and wonders why on earth that's there. Hopefully you should see this in a review sometime soon. The next one they sent me is The Darkest Secret by Alex Marwood. I think this is about identical twins and one called Coco Goes Missing. Again, I really don't want to know too much about it. I haven't heard a lot about this. I haven't seen many reviews, so if you know anything about this or you have read it, please let me know. I don't know when this is out actually. When is this out? This came out on the 30th of June, so it should be out now. So if you have heard anything about this, please do let me know, because it does sound really interesting. Finally, something I'm super excited about that actually came in the post this morning is A Boy Made of Blocks by Keith Stewart. First of all, can we just talk about how beautiful this hardback is? I'm not usually a massive fan of hardbacks. I find them quite, you know, difficult to take around with me, and I just prefer reading a nice flimsy paperback, to be honest. So this book is about a 30-year-old dad called Alex and an 8-year-old son, Sam. I believe his son has autism, and I think some of this book is told in perspective of the son and some from the dad, and I think it's about their relationship and also the relationship with the mother. The man that wrote this, Keith Stewart, is actually the head writer on the PlayStation magazine and things, so he's really into gaming, and I believe Minecraft comes into this book, which sounds really interesting to me. I've only heard positive reviews, so yeah, we'll just have to see with this one. This is totally the month for beautiful covers, because the next book was sent to me kindly by Serpent's Tail, and that is Constellation by Adrian Bosque. I mean, it's so gorgeous, and then when you take the dust jacket off, it's just stars. So this actually comes out on the 11th of August, so it's out in a couple of days' time. Constellation tells the true stories of the 37 passengers and 11 crew members, their place in the world and their hopes and dreams for the life awaiting them on the other side of the Atlantic. So this sounds really intriguing. I'm all for non-fiction, but I believe there is slight elements of fiction combined, as well as obvious sci-fi. It's going to be quite a short read, and I'm really looking forward to getting to this. I would very quickly also like to mention that this was translated from French by Willard Wood. So again, not only is it an interesting sci-fi, but it's also a lovely translated fiction too. The last book that I have for review is Dinosaurs on Other Planets by Danielle McLaughlin. This is a collection of short stories. I think it's got elements of magical realism. I've heard some people talking about about this and said for the most part they really enjoyed it. The lovely Mercedes over at Mercy's Bookish Musings sent me her copy of The Natural Way of Things by Charlotte Wood. She didn't particularly enjoy this. It sounded perfect for her as it sounds perfect for me, but she didn't really like it, so she thought she'd send it to me and I could give it a go because it just sounds so interesting and maybe I'll find something in it that I enjoy. It's going to be a shame if a premise like that gets wasted, as it appears it might do. Should be quite interesting to see what goes on with this one. The lovely Jane Campbell was having a little bit of a clear out and there were 2 books that I spotted that I really wanted, so she's very kindly sent them over to me. The first is Gretel in the Dark by Eliza Granville. I'm always interested in sort of fairy tale retellings, and Hansel and Gretel is one of my favourites, although I know this is a little bit different. Just from the back here it says, "Why do I assume I'm human? I wasn't born, I was just created like this. First I was an idea, then I came into being, charged with a very important task. I've come to find the monster." So that sounds really exciting. I'm really looking forward to reading this. The other book that she sent me is The Illusion of Separateness by Simon Van Boy. This is set in World War II and I love anything World War II related. In The Illusion of Separateness, award-winning author Simon Van Boy tells the haunting and luminous story of how one man's act of mercy on a World War II battlefield changes the lives of 6 strangers from across time and place. I mean, that's all I really need to know. I'm completely sold. Hopefully I'll really enjoy this too. Finally, I'm going to move on to the books that I bought myself this month. The first one I've already started reading, and that's Eileen by Tessa Moshfegh, I think is how you pronounce that. Yeah, I've lost the dust jacket of this. I take off all the dust jackets of hardbacks when I'm reading them, and 9 times out of 10 I lose them. This is my first book in the long road that is going to be reading the Man Booker long list, but so far I'm really enjoying this. I've seen pretty much good reviews about it. This is about a lady called Eileen who is looking back on her life when she was coming into adulthood in her early 20s, and she works at a retention centre for young boys. And she's not a very nice person. She lives in a filthy house with her drunk and abusive elderly father. She doesn't really shower, she doesn't clean, she doesn't really use the toilet that much. It is quite graphic, but that's my sort of thing. I really enjoy that. So yeah, can't give you a full review on this at the moment, but I'm really glad that I started with this one. I'm really intrigued so far, and so far so good with reading the Man Booker long list. Secondly, I picked up Margaret Atwood's The Heart Goes Last. I've only ever read one other Margaret Atwood, which was her collection of short stories called The Stone Mattress, I believe, which I really enjoyed. I'm going to read the back because I think that will really do it justice. Charmaine sees an advertisement for a project called Poistron that promises you a job, a place to live, a bed to sleep in. Imagine how appealing that would be if you were working in a dive bar and living in your car. She and her husband Stan apply at once. The only catch is that once you're in there, you can't get out. I haven't seen many reviews for this, so I'm not really sure. It's going to be really nice to get into a few more Margaret Atwood because I think her writing style is beautiful and creepy and disturbing, which again is exactly what I like to read. This is actually a present for my boyfriend, but I thought I would show it because I do want to read it after he's read it, and that's Frank Turner's The Road Beneath My Feet. Frank Turner, if you don't know, is a musician. He writes sort of punk, rock-ish, sometimes a little bit of pop infused. He's an incredible performer. He has a band called The Sleeping Souls. He's one of my favourite musicians of all time. My boyfriend actually got me into him. I'd never heard of him before we met. We actually went to see him in concert at the start of this year and he was just incredible. He's a fantastic guy. He's so interesting. He's been through drink and drugs and abuse and come out the other side as an incredible man, and I'm so excited to read his sort of journey into being a musician. I really enjoy reading autobiographies anyway, so this should be really great. The next book that I picked up, and unfortunately the sticker has done the thing and it's really upset me, so hopefully I'll be able to get that off. But this is The Past by Tessa Hadley. This is about 4 siblings that meet up in their grandparents' old house. They stay there for 3 weeks in a hot summer, and there's some tensions that build up and sort of family troubles that surface. It sounds really interesting. I haven't read sort of a very quiet, contained, but deep book for quite a while, so I'll be really intrigued to read this. And the last book that I picked up is The Peerfuls by Mark Haddon. This is a brand new book. This is actually a collection of short stories. I didn't realise that. I don't think that's been particularly marketed. I can't remember hearing that this was a collection of short stories. Mark Haddon, if you didn't know, wrote The Red House and The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, which are both fantastic books. The first short story in this I've actually read, and it's about a pier collapsing with all these people on it, and it's really dark and not like his other writing at all. I'm really looking forward to reading this. I haven't seen many reviews about this, especially on BookTube as well. And again, it's an absolutely gorgeous cover. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm going to continue reading this, so this might be the first one out of all of these that I finish. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for this. I'll definitely have a review up for this soon. I think that's everything, so thank you all so much for watching. If you've got any comments or questions about anything that I've just shown you, or if you've read any of them or would like to, please let me know down below. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments. I hope you all have a really lovely week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!